All right, let's get going.
Alrighty. Well, thank you everybody for joining this Pozotron webinar. Today we're doing a little bit of a new topic, something we haven't actually covered before. So let us know what you think about it. But my name's Johnny Freeman. I'm Pozotron's customer outreach manager. I've also got our wonderful CEO, Adam Fritz, on the call as well. So here at Positron, our support team is pretty small. Me and Adam and Lindsay and Daria and Lesia are probably the only people you would talk to. And we thought it would be a good idea to show you what our most commonly received questions are. So things that everyone who's used Positron at some point has a question about. By diving into these, we hope that you learn a little bit more about how to use our platform and answer certain questions that may come up while you're using us. So with that, we'll be going through 5 questions or a little bit more. But if you have any questions while we go through this, or if there's something you'd like to dive into, you've got Adam and I both on the call as well. So we're happy to answer those questions live.
Please put those in the Q&A box. I'll be watching the chat as well, but the Q&A box is just much easier for us to respond to.
Yes. All right. Thank you. So with that, I'll get started going through our kind of pre-selected questions. The topics for today, the 4 main areas people have questions on that come up a lot are uploading their PDFs, so issues that can come up with faulty or troublesome documents. We'll go over some billing questions, so some questions that everybody tends to have when they first start using Positron and they're understanding how the invoicing works and all of that. So we'll dive into that. Collaboration and permissions, really just making sure that you and your team members have access to projects. So some questions there. And lastly, some common errors that might show up when you're uploading audio and what kind of audio can give Positron issues. So that's a quick look at the topics for today. We'll go into the first one, PDF upload issues. Now, if you've used Positron or if you've attended our monthly webinars, this is a topic we brought up before. It's kind of the most common issue that shows up. Oh, let me go back so you can see that. Doesn't happen all the time, but at some point, someone's going to have a PDF with some issues. And then you get this lovely image on the right here. This was a screenshot a customer sent me just a couple days ago. She'd worked really hard on a project. I was excited to get to the end of it, uploaded it to Positron, and it just looked like gibberish. So this can be alarming, but we want to let you know that this is easy to fix. Now we've done a lot of work to make that easier in Positron, but I did want to show you what causes some of these issues. Because PDFs are not just a simple document with text in it. They actually have a lot of hidden things going on in the background, and that hidden formatting can cause other software like Positron or Microsoft Word to read the wrong thing essentially when it's processing the PDF. So hidden formatting, non-OCR PDFs. This is OCR is the optical character recognition that software uses to see where words are in a document and recognize the words. So if your document doesn't have that, it'll just come through blank in Positron. So that can cause some issues as well. And lastly, some ligatures. And this is where the font of the text in your PDF kind of flows together and there's not enough space between each letter for software to realize what letters are being written. So basically a bunch of PDF mumbo jumbo. Sometimes they don't work right, and this is why. But the important thing is how you can detect these issues. So how you can test your script for issues before you upload it is the most reliable and fastest way to do it is actually just a copy paste test, sorry. So open up your PDF and you can see on the right hand side there's a screenshot of a bunch of text that is highlighted or selected. If you're unable to select your text, that is the first red flag that Positron will not be able to read it. If you're able to select it, the next thing is to copy it and paste it into Microsoft Word or Notepad or another program and just see what comes through on the other side. If it comes through looking fine, 99% of the time, Posotron will be fine as well. But if there's any issues, you'll see right away it'll turn your text into gibberish. The other thing you can use is our book full text export, which I'll show you quickly. If I open up Posotron here. So this is a useful export if you go into a project after you have uploaded the script. You can hover over the import export button here and select book full text and just hit export. Now this will download a document here or a web page with a text-only version of your script. So you can quickly look at this and see if it's matching your PDF. If not, you'll see a bunch of, it'll look like it looked in this screenshot here. It'll look like this. So now what to do if you run into that, because it's kind of out of your control what PDFs you get from that you have to work with. So if you do run into any of these issues, you can let us know. We have put a lot of work into creating a tool that can automatically fix most of these PDF issues. And coming soon to a Positron near you, this will actually be visible in the studio. So when you log into Positron, there will be options for you when you upload a script. If it's got these issues, you might get a prompt saying, hey, your script looks funny. Do you want us to fix it? And then you just click yes, and it'll correct that for you. Or there'll be manual options as well. So we're very, very excited about that because
And
this, oh,
those will be prompted in two separate places. So you'll be able to toggle it, well, three places actually. You'll be able to toggle it on when you create the project. If we detect an issue, it will prompt you to try and fix it. Or as usual, you can email our support team, but we're really working hard to try and make it so you don't have to email us and wait, even though we respond quickly. The goal is to have you have everything that we have at your fingertips to solve a PDF issue.
yep, exactly. We definitely don't mind helping, but I think if you could do it yourself with just a click of a button, it'd be a lot more convenient and easy. So we're excited about that. We'll keep everyone in the loop on when this is available, but it should be coming soon. And that's pretty much it for PDFs. So moving on to the next section of questions. So billing questions. A lot of new users and even veteran users of Positron come to us with billing questions. So one of the first main questions is how do I pick the best subscription plan? Because a lot of our customers' workloads, they change drastically month to month. Everyone's got different life situations going on, and picking a subscription that is static throughout the whole year is really tough. So let me pull up our pricing here. Because there's one thing that is really important and sometimes overlooked on our pricing page here. So before I view all plans here, there is a little disclaimer right here that is really important. So all Positron plans are a monthly commitment. So users are free to change plans month to month with no penalties. We designed that specifically because, a lot of our customers are freelance narrators or, something like that, where they might have two books in a month and then, a different workload the next month. So if you look at our plans and you try to fit, where do I fit into all of these, that can be difficult. So what I recommend, and maybe Adam, if you have advice as well, what I recommend to our customers is plan out for, the next 2 to 4 weeks of your workload. If you have, a couple projects lined up, try to estimate the amount of hours those projects will take and pick your plan based off of, you know, those projects. So if you have 8 hours that you're going to be uploading to Positron, it might be best to be on the smart rollover plan. But if you don't have anything else lined up after that, you could switch to pay as you go after that because you're not locked in to any of these. Adam, yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, agreed. I would also say you can also change within your current invoice period. So if your invoice will close on the same day every month. So if you start your subscription today on May 29th, you'll be paying your invoice on the 29th of every month, with the exception of February, because there is no 29th of February most years. So you can change your plan for that existing period up until the day before your invoice closes. So if you say you're on, you think you're going to need 25 hours this month, and then you end up only using 12, which you can always see the amount of minutes you've uploaded to your account in your billing page. You can go in and change up or down whatever you need up until a day before your invoice closes. And that's on purpose because we understand that, it's not projecting out your workflow isn't perfect. So we want to make it flexible for you.
Yep, great point. Exactly. Because if you had, so let's say you're on the narrator plan, which gives you 16 hours, but this month you've only uploaded 7 hours. Like Adam said before, it closes, you can actually change to a better plan that fits your actual uploads for that month. So you're not only not locked in, month to month, but even in the same month, you can change your plan to get a better price. So it's important that you manage this and kind of be aware of how much audio you've uploaded, which if I go to Pozotron here and I go to my billing, my profile, just from there, and I go to billing. This is our webinars account, so it doesn't actually have much to show in here, but you would be able to see if you've uploaded audio this billing period, there'll be a box that appears right next to the credit balance, which shows how many minutes you've uploaded so far. And then from that calculation, you can switch to a plan that fits that better. This might be a little in the weeds, but I will say switching to the smart rollover plan does change that a little bit. So just want to touch on this because we do get questions on this a lot as well. The smart rollover plan charges you $35 right away. So it says here you will be charged $35 for your first 240 credit minutes immediately upon selecting this plan. And what happens on our servers or on the back end is we actually put like a physical 4 hours on your account that will stay there until you use them up. However, if you've already uploaded 8 hours and then you switch to the smart rollover plan, the 4 hours added to your account are not added, they're not taken away by your previous usage that you've put up there. So it's one thing to keep in mind. Again, if you do have questions or want more clarification, you can always let us know. But the main thing is there's no one plan that'll fit you all the time. I would really recommend that you switch and jump around based on your workload and your usage in Pozotron. All right, so that's the main question that people ask about billing. Other one is I need help understanding my invoice. So at the end of the month, we will, depending on what plan you're on, we will charge you for however much audio you've uploaded in that billing period. Now, if you want the specifics on that, the PDF that you'll get on your invoice doesn't show you that much information. It just kind of shows you the total charges. But from your account, and I probably should have had a test account with actual billing on it because I'm just in our webinars account. But under invoices, you will see every previous charge you've had, and I think it's actually on our support page. Oh, Adam, do you have one to show?
Yes, sorry, I thought I'd unmuted there. Yeah, give me 1 second and I can open up one and you can
Yeah.
talk me through it.
Yeah, that'd be great so I can see exactly what it looks like.
Give me 1 second. I need to log
Yeah,
into it.
I think it might be on our support page as well. So give me one.
Hello at Pozotron.com. This should be good.
So I have a little screenshot right here. Liz says, "Oof, billing and plans is the most challenging part of Positron for me." That's that's exactly why we wanted to give some advice on it. And Liz, if you do ever have questions or if there's something not making sense, definitely reach out. We're happy to help you pick the right plan. Even every month, if you just email me saying, "Hey Johnny, what do I do?" We'll help you out with that. Try to make it easier. There is an image right here that I can use. It's kind of old and doesn't look great, but this is what an invoices
Here
tab
we go.
act.
I've got
Oh, you
one.
got it? Okay, great.
But you need to approve my sharing request. Yes. So here is where you can see the billing breakdowns. So
Mhm.
you can open up the PDF of your invoice. You can also, so view detailed charges is where it'll download that Excel file that'll actually break down how many credit minutes, either smart rollover or free credit minutes you received. if you received any credit
Yeah,
for
I actually have
re-uploading.
an example one that I can pull up, like
Awesome.
uh,
Okay.
yeah, that
So yeah,
is.
if you go to this invoices page, this is exactly where you're going to see your breakdown of how much you've paid. You can also on your billing page, as Johnny mentioned, if you do have an active, oh, I thought I had an active. I guess I canceled it. Anyways, yeah, so that invoices page is really going to give you a ton of information to start figuring out how to understand your invoice.
Hmm.
Anything else you want me to show on here, Johnny?
No, just really what it's supposed to look like. That's great. So you can download the PDF on the right, but the what I'll show you in a second is this XLS file
Mhm.
on the view charges thing. So I'll take back over sharing and then I'll
Yeah,
show what that looks like, and maybe you can help me explain it.
for sure.
All right. You seeing my screen again?
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is once you download that Excel document, this is what it'll look like. So it has all of the information in here, and once you get used to reading it, you'll see exactly what went on in that billing period. So on the left-hand side, it'll show you what projects were created and if they had script prep usage as well, that'll be logged in here. Then you'll see two columns here, the free credit minutes and build minutes. So if you were on the smart rollover plan and then uploaded audio, you would actually use up your free credit minutes that are on your account before you rack up any build minutes. So these will all get depleted first, then anything extra will get tracked under build minutes. And these are charged against your subscription plan. So on Smart Rollover, that's $11.15 per hour of build minutes. And it'll break down the exact cost of each project, taking into account your free credit minutes as well. So you'll see the total charge with all of your proofing services up here. So this is the proofing service section, and then the script prep section with the total. So if you ever really want to get into the weeds on what happened, how many minutes to use and all that, you can see all of that information here just from going to your billing page.
Just a reminder there, the build PFH cost column is your effective cost. So it on a project like example project one, or sorry, example project two, there was a combination of free credit minutes and build minutes. So you would have paid that 68.29 just for the build minutes, but because you uploaded a total of 6.52 hours, which is a combination of build and free credit minutes, your build PFH cost is the amount you paid for all of the audio, not just the audio that was charged to your subscription. So
Exactly.
that's why likely in many projects, the build PFH cost is actually less than the price that you're paying on your plan because of those free credit minutes.
Hmm. Yep, exactly. And it looks like we do have a question from Kim.
Okay.
She says she had a script that had problems with words that started with FI. Kept hitting to filter it out, and it seemed to figure it out after a few chapters, but then it had a different combo of a couple letters. Right. Okay, so that is exactly what we were talking about with FI is like the most common. I'll go back to here. It's the most common ligature. A lot of times the F and the I are actually combined into one letter or one character, and that causes Positron to either blank it out or replace it with a dollar sign or just something else because it's not a real letter. So yes, Kim, that is exactly what we can help you with before you upload the project. If you do this copy paste test and you see that the F and I are getting skipped or something like that, you can let us know and we'll be able to correct that for you. And it does have to do with the font, but any font is usually okay as long as the letters are individual, like they're separate from each other. If they get flowy or they combine, that's where the issues start. But that is something you'll be able to fix with our tool once it's released. So very excited about that. If you can't tell, I keep bringing it up. Great. So that's it for understanding your invoice. And again, we're showing you this so you know where to go to check it yourself, but this does not mean that you can't reach out to us if you'd like to talk to a human. We're always here to talk. Bonus question. We get this a lot, actually. People work hard to build up their smart rollover minutes and then they want to switch to pay as you go for a little bit and they don't want to lose their minutes. Now, good news, you will never lose your free credit minutes that are on your account. They don't expire unless it's a part of the free trial, but any credit minutes that you have on your account will not get deleted even if you change to pay as you go, if you downgrade or upgrade or whatever, those will all be there waiting for you. So that's one recommendation for some customers as well. If you aren't sure exactly what your forecast looks like for how many hours you'll need in the next few months, you can stay on smart rollover for a little bit, build up, 4, 8, and then 12 hours. And then even if you switch to pay as you go after that, you have 12 hours sitting in your account waiting for when you're ready to use Pozotron again. So it's a common technique of our customers. And yeah, it's there to use. Okay, collaboration questions. These are fairly common. They're a little bit common. This one here, help, I can't access my project. This is such an annoying problem to run into. So we totally sympathize. And I wanted to go over the couple of reasons why you would have this issue. If you create your project, you should always have access to it, but there's two things that can be happening. So I'll go over them one by one. I'm going to go back to the My Projects page here. So let's say he made a project and he invited me to the project. I got an email that said, hey, Adam wants you to help on this project. I click the link to join, and then I get an error message saying, oops, you don't have access to this project. So that can be a little annoying. You don't know what happened there. When someone shares a project with you, if they're an organization or if they're an enterprise account, they actually have a special kind of account, which is what we call an enterprise account. To access any of those projects, when they share a project with you, you'll see their name appear down here. And this is in the new UI as such a little thing that gets skipped over a lot of time. But if you want to access Adam's project and he's with Positron Productions, I'll have to click this. You'll see I actually get a whole different list of projects down here that belong to Positron Productions. And now I'll be able to click the link he sent me and access the project. But if I'm logged into my personal account, my webinars at Positron, this is just going to show me my projects, my personal projects. So if you're having trouble accessing something, make sure you check this dropdown first.
And we are also going to be adding a all projects option there. So you can see every project that's ever you have access to, regardless of who owns it. But that's a little ways away.
Yep. Yep. Just because we've been getting these requests, we'll have an option here to just pick show me all, show me everything that I'm involved with. And that should make it easier. The second reason you couldn't access your project or you couldn't find it might be because it has been archived. So this has happened before. They say, I did this project, 6 months ago, and I can't find it. So if it's archived, here at Positron, we actually make it hard to delete stuff because it sucks to lose all of your hard work if you accidentally delete something. So what you can check is there's a button here to just view archive projects as well. If I click that, you'll see all these grayed out projects are my archived projects. The data is still there. I can access it and get my pronunciation guide or character guide that I had in there. Definitely turn this on if you're having trouble finding a project. Now, if you actually delete a project, we make you tell us, yes, you would like to delete it, and then hit delete project again. We can't get this back for you. But if you're wondering if a project has been deleted, we will have a log on our side that we can tell you, yes, this project was deleted. We don't have access to it anymore, but we could at least end the mystery for you if you want us to check if it was deleted. If something's archived, you can simply unarchive it with this button right here, and it'll pop back into my projects page as a real project. Adam, any other reasons you could think of why someone couldn't access their project?
Today we had one where someone I looks like someone their sharing permissions were accidentally deleted. So sometimes that happens. You can either there is a leave button up in the top right. So
That's
sometimes you
true.
can click that autom by accident. However, it does prompt you. So you'd have to click leave and then click yes. Sometimes if you opened up the share button, there is a way to remove someone's sharing permission. Someone could delete that by accident. Those are really the two main ways. The other thing actually that does come up is if someone has two Positron accounts, their narrator Johnny at johnny.com and Johnny Freeman at gmail.com. Sometimes they log it, it's shared with one of their accounts and they're logged into the wrong one. That one does happen fairly often as well.
That is very true. Yeah, and if you need us to merge accounts or
Mhm.
transfer stuff, we can do that for you as well. Cool. The other thing that is linked to, thank you, Adam, for that. The other thing is Positron won't let me blank. So this can happen if you're working on someone else's project and you get in there and you're like, why can't I do this? I've done this 1,000 times and it's just not letting me access this or something like that. That is because almost 100% of the time, when you're invited to a project or when you invite someone else to a project, you always have to give them a role here. And there's a bunch of different roles, but these are important. They actually determine what a person can do in your project. So I'll go through those today, but I just wanted to show you an example of what that looks like. So here, Johnny Freeman has shared a project with this account. And if I come into this project, you'll see this is grayed out, this is grayed out, this is grayed out. I can't share. If I open up proofing, I can't actually click any buttons. I can't do anything. I can just look at all of it. I wouldn't be able to add any words to my pronunciation guide. So this can be frustrating if you use Positron for a long time. You come in and you're like, I don't know what's going on here. It's because let me go back to the other project. These roles dictate what you can and can't do. So I'm just going to open up. If you're ever curious of what role you should pick for someone, you can click right here. This will open up our little chart here to explain the different roles. And just to keep it simple, the director, producer, and owner categories, they can do anything. If you invite someone with those roles, they'll be able to delete your whole project. They can upload new audio to your project, which if you're the owner, you would get charged for them uploading audio to your project. They can share it, archive it. They can have full access. So if you don't care what they're going to do in your project, you could just give them the director role every time. And if you won't have any issues, they'll be able to, you might have issues of them deleting your project, but that's about it. If you'd like them to come in and be able to change anything except for the important, catastrophic things like deleting a project or resetting all of your work, the narrator plan and or not plan role, narrator role and editor role, they have pretty much access to everything, but they can't do the really harmful things. And then the proofer and researcher roles are kind of swapped. So the proofer role is able to view and edit everything in the proofing tool. They're able to view everything in the project. So that's one thing to keep in mind. No matter what role you give them, they'll be able to look at the pronunciation guide, to look at the character guide, to look at the audio files you've uploaded in proofing. But what they can change depends on this role here. So proofers can change things in the proofing tool, but they're still able to view the pronunciation guide, character guide, and all the chapters. And then researcher is swapped. So researcher cannot change anything in the proofing tool. They can view it, but they can edit the pronunciation guide and edit the voice guides. So if you need someone to help you with either one of these things, we tried to make these names intuitive, but if you don't care what they have access to, you just want them to be able to get in and get the job done, just go with the important sounding, director role, and they'll be able to access and do anything they want. Anything else to add, Adam? Is that pretty much it? Those are the only things I could think of there.
Yeah, often it's permissions based. Sometimes there's just like a bug or an issue. So if you have something weird happen, just reach out to us because either we'll be able to fix it quickly or you've found something in Positron that's not working properly because of some weird edge case, and we'll get that fixed as well.
Yep, we very much appreciate those
I
notifications
would
as
say
well.
the only thing, especially in a positron won't let me do X situation, the most information you can give us, screenshots, screen recordings, or even better, the name of the project, as much information as you can give us in your first submission to us to support, the less back and forth we'll have to do. Because often we'll get positron will let me do something. And then we'll have to say, okay, could you tell us the project? Could you tell us what exactly is happening? So just flood us with information on the first. Yes. Dan Weiss just asked, researcher needs a login, correct, but no charge? Yes, that is correct. For anyone to access your project, they need to have a login, but there is no charge for, there's no difference in charge between one person accessing a project and 1,000 people accessing a project. And that's on purpose. We believe Positron is a tool for collaboration, and that's a huge part of the value of it. But Johnny, you could probably show if you don't want them to log in and you just want them to be able to review some of the things, there is a read-only version. So if you share that online packet there, if you share it that way, that's available for pronunciation and characters, as well as the online pickup packet for proofing. Those are available in read only, but you do not have to log in.
Hmm.
So people can listen to the things that you've done, but they can't edit it or do anything with it.
Yep, any of these exports as well for Excel, for online packet, the pickup packet, all of those you can
Exactly.
send to them. But if they need to come into the project, that's the blue share button's role, and they do need an account because we need to know who's accessing your stuff to keep your stuff safe, really. Great, thanks, Adam. All right, moving on then to processing issues slash errors. So one of the most common questions we get is my audio file is stuck. And sometimes it does get stuck actually. And in those cases, what's really happening is there's 100 people uploading 10-hour audiobooks to Positron all at once, and one chapter may get pulled off to the side and kind of be there in limbo. And if you're watching it, it might look like the audio file is stuck. In that case, it's totally fine to reach out to us. It will process eventually, but we can give it a kick on the back end to make sure it goes through. There was one other thing that I was going to say. Oh, yes. Okay, good. So, one thing that is actually very important is we have 5 different stages on processing an audio file, and not all of them are necessary for you to get in and start proofing.
On the manuscript file, not the audio file.
Oh, correct. Yeah, of course. On the manuscript, yes. So as the script processes, so this is on when you're uploading your manuscript. So not even if your audio file is stuck, there's a lot of different steps that it's going to go through. And I'm actually just going to upload. Oh, actually, never mind. Mix those up there. But as you upload a script, as soon as it gets through step 2 out of 5, you can actually start uploading your audio files. The last few steps actually take the longest when processing a manuscript, but those are just to enable these script prep tools. So if you're not planning on using the prep tools and you just want to proof your audio files, as soon as it moves on past step 2, you can drop those audio files in here and that will get going. Now, if audio files are getting stuck in this upload, definitely let us know if it's been, if you're uploading a 12-minute audio file and it's been sitting there for 20 minutes, that's something we can help you with and restart it. If you're uploading longer files, it will take longer to process. So, Adam, what would you say is a good rule of thumb? Like if you've waited the length of your audio file and it's not done, is
Yeah.
that it or?
Yeah, that's a fair point. I would say the things that make it more complicated, one, the larger file size. So waves generally are much larger files, so they are take longer to process. Sometimes it's something really complex in the script because as part of the audio processing, we have to match to the script. So if there's a lot of charts in that section of in that chapter of the script that you've compared it to,
Yep.
or PDF issues or stuff like that, that'll make it go slower. And then sometimes when it's just super, super, super high volume usage by all of our customers, things go a little bit more slowly because we do have not limited bandwidth because that's not the situation. It's more there's only so many projects that can start at the same time or so many jobs for audio processing. So sometimes there's just a bit of a wait for that to start. Very
Hmm.
uncommon that that happens,
Yep.
but in really, really high traffic times, that does happen.
Yep. And Liz, what you just said is one thing I was going to mention. We've had a couple of reports recently that on step 6 out of 8 or something, it'll stay there for a while, and if you refresh your page, it shows up as done. So that is one thing to try on your end as well. Sometimes the screen, if you haven't changed your screen in a while, you haven't clicked around or done anything, it seems like that's it. But we've had sparse, scattered reports of that, so we're still looking into what that is. But one thing, you can upload the audio and return to your My Projects page, and then come back in to check on the progress of those files. One thing I will say, when you're uploading an audio file, let's go to here. If you leave the page before this bar, so before that bar goes, that's it actually uploading. Now it's processing. But if you leave the page while it's uploading, that can cause some weird stuff to happen as well. So definitely wait for that bar to fill up before leaving the page. And that's pretty much it. But yeah, definitely let us know if you have any stuck files. We'll get them going for you. Last big, most common error that we see is the audio text mismatch warning that comes up in here. So there's a few different reasons why this shows up. Sometimes it's because the audio that you uploaded after you exported it from your session, there's something wrong with the export. There was one that was pretty funny. The audio was sped up like 10 times the speed of the normal sound. So it was just like super fast audio that Pozotron couldn't understand. Sometimes it's silent or the volume is all the way down.
Sometimes people have chapter one on one track and chapter two on the other, so it's two
Mm,
pieces of audio in the same audio file. So
yep,
usually your first step is go listen to the audio file and you'll probably 80% of those problems will be solved right away.
yep. It's usually easy to see what's going on with the audio if that's the problem. The other problem that is a little bit less intuitive because this will start off correctly and then it'll all go haywire halfway through is let me open up a PDF here. So, just for an example, this is chapter one. Let's say I read through all of this, and then this actually has some, a red strike through or something on this chapter. This isn't going to be read, but the text is still here. So in the same audio file, I narrate this whole section, I skip over these pages, and then I start reading here again. This can cause this error as well because Positron expects you to say all of these words sequentially. If you skip over a large section, our matching algorithm that matches the text to the script is now confused because there's a big section of text that has no audio to go with it. So Positron gets scared and runs away. So to fix that, you can either so make sure you just end your audio files where the text ends. So I could make one audio file for this section here, select all of this, and then I would skip over that and start a new audio file as two separate uploads in here. So I'd upload two files there instead of one. That'll work correctly. But rule of thumb, don't skip over large sections. It's fine if it's a paragraph or something like that, but large sections have to be split up.
Yeah, and your first step, you'll usually see it as a big red section, large mismatch, and either go to the beginning of the correctly matched section or the end of the correctly matched section and open up your actual script file. And almost always you will see that the narrator skipped a big chunk of audio.
Yeah, that's usually it. Or lastly, if there's something wrong with your PDF, that can bring this up if text is not recognized. And so Positron can't match your audio to any text if there's something wrong with the script. So it can be a bunch of things, but the first thing I would suggest is listen to the audio and look at the script and just see if there's anything funky going on there. That, I think, well, yeah, that was the final most common. We still have some time here, so I added a bunch of bonus questions at the end. But yeah, if you do have any questions, anyone that has something they'd like to get into, please put it in the Q&A chat. But bunch of bonus questions. These are little things that people ask us all the time, and I'll talk about these and see if any other questions roll in. Starting here, I accidentally uploaded the wrong file or duplicate files. So we will never really charge you for this. We are charged based on we incur our costs based on how much audio everyone uploads. So if you accidentally upload 10 hours of audio and then accidentally upload 10 hours of audio again and again, we'd like to try to prevent that. But if you accidentally upload some audio, we're not going to hold you to being double charged for your audio. Just shoot us an email and we will either cancel the charge for those minutes or give you credit minutes, something like that. And for duplicate files, you're actually given a 50% discount on those uploads automatically. Adam, did you want to say something? So you got
Yeah,
off mute.
just two things. So there's a couple things. If you upload an entire book incorrectly, as Johnny mentioned, we'll give you a one-time oops freebie. If it does if it is a pattern, we won't recredit, book after book after book. However, we can add a delay. So if you find for whatever reason, files are getting accidentally uploaded, we can actually add an upload delay. So when you upload your files, you will have a longer period of time to catch that and click cancel. So if you do want that added to your account for whatever reason, please just let us know. And then we have once or twice mandated that for users who are continuously uploading, 4 or 5 hours accidentally just because it costs us in two ways every time we make that refund, which most of the time we're happy to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but if you do want that delay added to your account, just so you have a second to, react to it before you're charged, let us know. Happy
And
to
it
do
can be
that.
as many seconds as you would like.
Oh. Next question. I mispronounced a word throughout my whole book. So this comes up every once in a while, and they come to us. If you haven't used our scan occurrences tool, that's what this is designed for. The scan occurrences tool, if I go here, allows me to search for any word. It's like word search, but for your audio. So it's not searching the script for the word, it's actually searching your audio files. So if I add Sherlock here, this will show me every single time Sherlock was said throughout the whole book. And it can be a real project saver if mispronounced a word 2,000 times throughout a whole book. You can scan for those words here. It'll actually let me listen back to every single occurrence, and I can select any ones that need fixing. So I could select, a couple, or I can select all of them, and I can mark these as pickups straight away from this button, or export them straight to my session and see where it is, and then, go ahead and find and replace it. But yeah, usually people are coming in a panic and they're like, "Can you help me at all with this, please?" So we're happy to help with that. I accidentally archived my files. Can I get them back? Yes, you can. Every file that you archive, even if it's your entire book or if it's just some chapters here, if I archive a chapter, it will be listed under this archive button here. So you can always recover anything that gets accidentally taken away, as long as it's not fully deleted. And I don't think there's a way to fully delete a chapter. So you actually
No,
cannot
there is
delete it. Yeah.
anytime you archive something, it is removed from all of the reports as well. So if you have a bunch of pickups that for whatever reason you don't want in certain reports, you can either use the select chapters option that's available on most of our exports, or you can actually just archive those files. And for DAW markers, for pickups, for any of that, it
Yep.
will no longer be included.
Yeah, it's actually a very useful thing about archiving is those reports. How can I check a custom pronunciation while proofing? And I hope you don't mind. I'm just rapid firing through these, but these are fun questions. And this is a really cool feature, actually. So let's say I had Sherlock. Oh, word already exists in book. That's funny. Let me add character. Let me add Watson. All right, so I've got a character in here, and the pronunciation of his name, let's say it was something strange, like Wartson, or I don't know, something random like that. And I could record a pronunciation. Watson, it had to be said like that for some horrible reason. If I save this and I go back to proofing, I go into the Sherlock
I think
Holmes.
everyone wants to see your character voice for Watson before we do this.
I just made the decision that I will think before I, you know, portray my acting skills on a webinar next time, but you all got a glimpse. So we've got Sherlock and Watson now in the proofing page. This is our script sync functionality here. If you highlight pronunciations and highlight characters, anything on your pronunciation guide or in your character guide will get highlighted here, but it'll also let you access the pronunciation and the phonetic spelling pronunciation and the recording for it just in here. So I can listen to the audio. So he said it like Watson, like he should have, but I can say he should have said it like this, So you can compare the audio files to whatever's in your prep tools, essentially. So even if Pozotron expects you to say Watson a particular way, you can have some custom control over that using this feature. So that's super helpful. Now let's see what's next. I uploaded the wrong manuscript. Now this one is we can help you very easily, or you'll have to create a new project, and it all depends on if, let's pull up Pozotron again, on if you've uploaded audio to the project. Now I think I have a project with no audio. Yep, right here. So if I have not uploaded any audio to a project and I uploaded a manuscript, there's a little paper icon right here. And this allows you to select any new script that you want, and it'll replace it and reprocess it. It's totally free. You can do that as many times as you'd like, actually. You can use your prep script first, then upload your final script afterwards. But if you upload a single audio file, this button goes away and it's locked. So if you uploaded the wrong manuscript, check if you've uploaded audio. You will have to create a new project with the new script. And like Adam said earlier, within reasonable expectation, we will not double charge you for that. But hopefully you didn't upload any audio and you can just swap out the correct script there. That's one we get pretty often. Or I'll go through, I don't think I'll have time for all of these, but I'll go through a couple more. How can I ignore all pauses, noises, etc.? Actually, we got a question from Liz. So Liz says, does this doc replace work if the author has updated an intro or something? Yes, exactly. So if you got a new script from your author and it had, changed sections and stuff, you could just swap it out with the new one as long as you haven't uploaded audio there. And that's really nice because our prep tools, all of the prep tools here, even if you upload a new script, it'll save your information in here and it'll actually give you new suggestions if, let's say, the author added a whole nother chapter and it had a bunch of words in there and stuff like that. When you swap the script out, your suggestions list will update and show you the new words that it found in the new script while keeping all of your previous research safe in here.
And just in case you didn't, I think you probably did, but yeah, you have to ignore all of the suggestions from the original script first, and then it'll just show the
Right.
new additions. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
should
So
clear all the suggestions. Yeah.
exactly. So you'll want to go through, add all of the suggestions here, go through the entire list, and then upload the new script. And the suggestions list will have new suggestions there with any added words in there. But yeah, hope that helps. Uh, answer live. Good. All right, ignoring all of a particular kind of annotation. This is actually really easy to do. So in a project, let's say I don't care about any of the pauses or noises because someone else is going to handle that or something. I can use this annotation filter button here to filter out a particular kind of annotation. Even the start and end annotations of each chapter that are always there, I can filter those out. I could filter out pauses and noises. Let's do the start and end as well. Hit filter, hit OK, and you'll see it filtered out a bunch of annotations here. So if I open this up, this has been okayed. These have been okayed as well. So it's a quick way or if you forget to turn noise detection off or something like that, you can also hide all of those. All right, couple more, and then we'll let you all enjoy the rest of your Thursday. How many credits do I have? So you can always check this in your billing profile and see your current billed minutes, which I showed earlier. But just to reiterate, you want to click your email address and go to billing. This will have all of the information that you want. Also allows you to change plans, but you'll see how many minutes you have available and any billed minutes will appear there as well. What if I'm narrating some text that isn't in my script? So that is actually a fairly common question. So and it's an underutilized feature because most of the time you don't need it. Let's say there's an acknowledgement section or an author's note or some additional information in a book that you're doing that isn't actually in the book. There's a button down here to manually create a chapter. And this is really handy. So if I click this, instead of just uploading an audio file, I can give it a chapter name, and then I can just paste whatever text that I'm going to be narrating in here. Pozotron will use this as the script for the next audio file that you upload down here. So it'll actually compare these two instead of the main manuscript that you have uploaded here. So really useful if there's any additional notes, or even if you just want to check a 30-second commercial or something, you can just drop in the text in there, upload your audio file, and it'll compare that instead of going through a whole script processing. All right, I think I'm done talking. But if you do have questions, the main thing of this is please reach out to us with anything you need help with. We've most likely seen it all, and we're happy to help with whatever comes up.
Agreed. And stay tuned for we're just about to decide on our webinar for next month. So I think we've rolled out a lot of new features. I'd say there's a chance it's a new features webinar because there's going to be a lot of cool stuff coming.
Those are the most fun. Get to show off some new stuff. So yeah, we'll keep you in the loop. Craig, just saw your message. Awesome. Glad I could help. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for joining. I really hope this was helpful. Hope you learned something that can make your Positron journey a little easier. We really appreciate you joining.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Yeah, have a good one. Let us know what you think about this kind of topic. First time we've done a webinar like this, so.
Oh, and a quick reminder from Lindsay, who's I'm sure going to be next month's webinar is not going to be, maybe we'll do two, we'll see, but is June. It's going to be speaking
Oh
with a
yeah,
bunch of Positron customers. I think we're calling it the community spotlight, talking about how they use Positron in their workflows. We did one of those last year in June and it went really well. So thank you for
yeah,
the reminder, Lindsay.
yep. That should be a lot of fun. So tune in. All right, everybody. Thank you. We'll see you later.